Well, let's get this show underway.
Let's do it.
I'm ready to go.
All right. Same thing as we did last time, Matt. All
Sounds good.
right, here we go.
Meet the Pressers with Matt Mallory and Klint Necro. Brought to you by Public Safety and Education and the Trigger Pressers Union.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis X. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Saber Red. Saber Red has been making men and women cry since 1975. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, and organizations. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, to Meet the Pressers. My name is Klint Macro, and this is my esteemed colleague, Matthew Mallory. And Meet the Pressers is a safe place for trigger pressers to gather and talk about guns, gear, gadgets, political activism, religion, science, you name it, we can talk about it. And today we're going to discuss something that a lot of people, I think, will go onto YouTube and become junior gunsmiths. We're going to talk with Zeke, and Zeke's going to talk about his school as well as all the other stuff that he's involved with. So, Matt, could you properly introduce Zeke and give us the introduction?
We'd be glad to, Klint. Thank you. Zeke Stout, Modern Gun School. Zeke, I think we met at the Iraq Veteran 8888 Fun Gun Shoot back 3-4 years ago. I think that's the first time we officially met. If I remember right,
I think it was 4 years ago.
Was it 4
Yeah.
years ago? Could have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Collins introduced us. And
Yep.
yeah, and since then I've been following you around, bringing you on the show. I think you came on once before.
Why
And
are you following me around, Matt?
well, because you're so big, nobody
Oh,
messes
creepy.
with me when I'm following you around. It is a little creepy. But so MGS, you guys are you're knocking down boundaries. You're kind of getting rid of the YouTube University mindset of gunsmithing. So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about the company, how it came to pass, and how it came to be, I should say, and and what separates you from competition, because that's the thing. I've been sending tons of people your way. I don't know how many of them signed up, but every time they say they're going to do gunsmithing, I'm like, I got the guy for you. So
So MGS has been around since 1946.
wow.
Uh, it used to be called Modern Gun School, and it was, 1946. Of course, there was no internet, and it wasn't correspondence. It was brick and mortar style gunsmithing education. And back in, I believe, 2012, they took it online, and I came to be a part of it in 2020. And I'm part owner of the school and the chief marketing officer and director. So I have lots of hats with the school. And one of the things that we really wanted to do, I've been in gunsmithing education in the past with one of our biggest competitors now. I was an executive there. And one thing I always want to do is get more hands-on projects, you know, because if Harvard and all these other medical schools can teach medical concept courses for medical school online, yes, we can teach gunsmithing online. The biggest key is those hands-on projects, and we have 8 hands-on projects total if you take the advanced two course. And another thing I want to do is I wanted to prepare these students for a career. So in the advanced two course, you graduate and you get like $1,400, almost $1,400 worth of tools that you could take, start your own shop. You can go to any shop that doesn't have gunsmithing, say, hey, I want to be your gunsmith. I got everything I need. You just pay me this and we'll rock it out. And then the biggest thing that we do with MGS is keep the students first, no matter what. If a student calls in, they've got a complaint about something in the curriculum and they're like, this is wrong. I know it's wrong. I read it here, here, and here. We're going to research it. We'll vet it through our gunsmith. And if they're right, we'll change it. We want to make sure they're getting the right education. We're not just, trying to scrape up as much money as we can and ride off in the sunset.
Mhm. For sure.
But it's very important to me in many ways. One of the biggest ways is, I don't talk about this publicly a lot, just because of the Chinese telephone happens and,
Mm.
rumors get started. But I spent a year in the Air Guard. I got hurt. and herniated disc. They said, you're old and broken, because I went in at 33 years old. They said, you're old and you're broken. Goodbye. And I tried to fight to stay in. I couldn't. They were just like, it's just not possible right now. Air Force is at 120% capacity. We're kicking people out for acne outbreaks. I'm like, all right. So after I fought it for a month or two, kind of gave in. And I've always wanted to help the veteran community as much as I can. And when I was at the previous school, I got an email that said, hey, I'm a veteran. I never thought I would go to college. And then I found this school and it teaches about guns. I know guns. I can do this. I want to say thank you because now I'm working on my doctorate. You know, it's stuff like that is near and dear to my heart. We are VA approved, so veterans can come through and take our course on their GI Bill or VA benefits. And it's a trade that I'm passionate about. Am I a gunsmith? No, because these things are clumsy as oxes. I played basketball, and that was about the extent of my coordination I had. But I do know a lot of the gunsmithing because I've helped develop the curriculum. I've taken the curriculum. But I am passionate about that space because gunsmiths are a dying breed. They're either retiring or actually literally dying. And there's not a whole lot around. I can count on one hand within 200 miles of me how many people I would trust with my gun. So and that's no offense to the gunsmiths out there building ARs and doing amazing jobs at ARs, but if you're an AR builder and you don't do anything else, I don't technically consider you a gunsmith. What are you going to do when you show up with grandpa's old Winchester lever action and you don't know how to fix it because you're used to just doing, AR builds? But yeah, so that's something that's very important to me because it is a dying art. It is a trade. And I feel like with all of the discussion in our society right now with education, trade schools is the way to go.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, my son's a super athlete. I wish I had his athletic ability, but I tell him, if you don't get a college scholarship somewhere to play sport and you get to go to school for free, look at trades first. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you want to do, look at a trade. Well, and it doesn't have to be gunsmithing. Look at welding. Look at, all the, auto body, auto diesel mechanic, all these different trades that are out there that pay super well. But for some reason, and this is what blows my mind, and we're all about the same age. When y'all were growing up, when somebody took auto body or wood shop in school and they knew, okay, this is what they're going to do, they were kind of ostracized for some weird reason. It was like, oh, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to get that degree. Yep. I got a freaking degree in biology and I work in the gun industry. I mean,
biology of guns.
Right. Exactly. Technically the knowledge I've gained over the years in my career, marketing, business, I wouldn't have gotten some of those jobs if I didn't have a bachelor's. So yeah, sure, but none of those jobs were biology jobs.
Directly, right.
Well, too often, at some point in time, the narrative, and this probably happened before we became, of the age to look at that as an option, but the narrative was you had to go to college to find yourself. Like, that's retarded. Like, why would you want to spend that much money to go find yourself when you could actually be going out working, saving up, buying a house, whatever, while you find yourself by doing a trade or even apprenticing under somebody?
Or lose yourself with drugs.
Yeah. I'd tell my kids, if my daughter came up to me, and she's playing college softball, so she took my advice. But if she came up to me tomorrow and she goes, I'm done with softball, there's no pro softball, it's not like I'm going to make a living off this, I kind of want to find myself first. I'm going to say, well, then take the 10 grand that would have gone to your next year of college, or actually nowadays it's probably a semester.
Yeah.
And go travel Europe. Go, hike the United States, learn stuff, learn about different trades, learn about different people, find who you are that way. Don't go join a sorority and get hammered every night. Nothing against sororities, fraternities. I'm not saying that. But, don't do the traditional college find yourself, which means you're waking up hungover every day. Learn about the world, learn cool blank. I don't know if y'all cuss on the show or not. I always forget
we do.
On different
shows.
We can cuss.
You can cuss.
Learn cool shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like when my parents were more, when I was a kid growing up and my parents would say, you got to get a college degree, my dad trades, right? Construction, carpentry and stuff. So I think I mean, you guys chip in, but I'm thinking it's like cyclical, right? It goes through the changes of time. Like, oh, we need more tradespeople than we need college educated people. And then we need more educated people than we need tradespeople. And the grass is always greener on the other side. So obviously your parents want you to do better than they did. So they think that that's the better option because it's on the other side of the fence. But yeah, I mean,
I think a big part of that rhetoric, it gets a little bit better as we go along with time. And when I say that, as technology gets better, right? As we have ways to research stuff, so I think there will be that cycle, trade, college. But I think now that people are realizing, oh, wait, if I go to college and get a degree in history just because I think history is cool, that's not going to give me a damn job.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have tons of debt.
And a lot of trade schools too, like I'm going to ask if you do this at your school, a lot of trade schools will then teach them how to run a business and promote themselves. And actually it's like a full package of success.
Absolutely. And we even help by, keeping our finger on the pulse of the firearms industry. And, Beretta reached out to us last year and we're like, hey, we need graduates from your school with these credentials, and we send it out to all the students, stuff like that we're always looking for stuff
that's huge
to help them. I mean, it's not just keep the students first while they're in school and then forget about them. We'll try to help jobs and look for openings and stuff like that. But the cyclical part, I think we'll start going back to, yes, it'll go back to that college is the number one versus trades, but then it'll be college to get a job in nursing, a doctor, a lawyer, something that you graduate.
Yeah.
And if you graduate with that degree, you have a job.
That's awesome.
There are so many degrees out there that you don't get a job from getting that degree. Trades, you get a job. Now, let me rewind because we're an accredited school and there's certain things we can and can't say. I can't guarantee you will get a job in gunsmithing. I can't guarantee you will be a good gunsmith. It is what you do with that knowledge base that we teach you. Depends on how good you'll be and if you'll be able to get a job. But most trades are looking for entry-level people in those trades. And once you graduate, you can get a job of some sort in that space and work your way up. If you're really, really good, you might get the head gunsmithing job. But that's up to you. That's not where you go to school. But like especially me, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, especially now, like you've got the last of the baby boomers are retiring off, and now you got the Gen Xers are starting to get into the retirement cycle. There's a lot of jobs that are available or will be very soon. And especially in a trade-oriented business, people want to work with them a little bit and kind of get them under their wing and apprentice, not necessarily apprentice in the traditional sense, but build someone up so that they can hand the baton back over. It's a great opportunity. That right now is a great time for those young kids.
Did I just see we're brothers when your hand came up?
Yes, sir. I've been to the East.
I have it as well. Mount Moriah Lodge 18 in Murfreesboro.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Driftwood Emporium, 532 in Plum Creek, Monroeville, 799.
I feel so out of place.
Now, everybody listening is going, what the hell are they, Illuminati?
We control the world.
That's why we're grinding so hard doing podcasts and shit.
Yeah, there you go.
For sure.
I've not witnessed that part of Freemasonry that controls the world yet. I haven't. No.
I haven't either. Yeah, it's a great organization. It's a great philanthropic organization. It is a great brotherhood. It's the original fraternity. You know, when you look at it. But I have so many people that they'll see my ring or something and they'll be like, oh man, y'all are Illuminati. I'm like, do you think I'd live where I live and drive the car I drive if I was part of the Illuminati? Hell no.
Yeah. But the brotherhood is real though. Yeah. Nice.
The brotherhood part. And I say this to people all the time, and I've asked people if I can say this, and they said it's cool. You can find everything we do. If you go to a non-biased website that's not anti or not pro, it's just, hey, we did some research, this is what we found. You can find it all. But you and I will never say it to somebody that's not a Mason because it's all about, if I see that ring out somewhere and I talk to you and I do a few little vetting things, I know that I can trust That's what it's about. It's about that brotherhood and the trust. That's why it is, when people hear secret society, well, it's just because we want to know that I can trust the other guy because that information is not being shared everywhere.
Yeah.
You can find it all. If you want to do that time, go find it. I'm not going to tell you where to find it because that's part of my oath and obligation.
Yeah, but there's one piece of information that I do like to share that I can, and most people aren't aware of. Freemasons donate $2 million on average a day for charities. 2 million a day. I mean, that's the entire Shriners, and there's so many different Masonic bodies, but and it's all about making the world a better place, but helping good men be better men. Yeah,
exactly, absolutely,
very cool.
Yeah, now so Matt is currently unaffiliated. Pardon?
Now we just hijacked the podcast.
So today we're going to talk about Freemasonry.
All right. It's freedom of speech.
Yeah. Yeah. So something I want to, going back to the topic before, something I wanted to ask you. I have a gunsmith that's just up the road from me. He's one of these guys that if you stop in there, he will talk your ear off for a good 2 hours. He's like making sears out of old paper clips and stuff. Like he's making guns work that you can't find the parts anymore. But he has said that the Obama administration, the Biden administration has almost cut his throat when it came to what he can do, what he can't do, because the way the laws have changed over the years has made it more prohibitive for people to take on that trade. Would you say that's an accurate statement?
Yeah, I was on another podcast recently. They were talking about the new stuff that the Supreme Court's looking at. And they're talking about serialized versus unserialized, parts versus part. And I think we get sucked into the argument from the Second Amendment standpoint and not really take a step back and watch what's really going on. Mm-hmm. Like with the Supreme Court thing right now, everybody's getting up in arms. Well, if it's got a serial number, that's fine. We can do that. Or if it doesn't have a serial number, that's what you really should look at. And it's like, whoa. We need to look at the big picture and go, nothing that is proposed in this bill, in this law, has ever been used in a mass shooting,
right? In
a school shooting,
right?
So what is it that you're saying is under the guise of let's stop the violence and the school shootings, which let's say this right now, and all three of us agree, none of us want mass shootings and school shootings. None of us want this. We all want to sit down and figure it out, but you're trying to figure it out by banning stuff that hasn't been used. If I took this knife and I use it for hunting and everything else, and
you just pull that
somebody
out of
used a pocket. Yeah, exactly. This is my podcast room. And somebody used this knife, little flip pocket knife. Well, it's not little, it's huge, but in a murder, and they decided to ban Damascus Bowie knife because somebody committed a murder with a pocket knife. How freaking ridiculous does that sound?
And I tell you what, then you could still use it to stab someone, whether it has a serial number on it or not.
That's true.
Right, exactly. And we get sucked into these arguments where we start arguing the little minutia that the laws are about and not step back and go, whoa. Why has no politician on either side going, why did we pick these items?
Well, it's a grand scheme to ultimately disarm the citizenry, because tyrants can't do tyrant things if they've got an armed and educated citizenry. So they've been working on the dumbing us down. That's been going on for maybe since the beginning, perhaps. But now the fight is, okay, if they can ban it, but then there are people that can make them or manufacture them or build them, then those people are going to be a problem for us later too. So it's an all-out shotgun assault. And if you look at the bills that are brought up, it's like, I'm going to ask for 100 things, knowing that I'll get one thing, and even though that's the ratio, I'm still going to win. And that's ultimately how it's being looked at.
And that's the thing that's bizarre to me is the whole ghost gun thing. Nowhere, except for maybe small crimes and little, other involved shootings, gang shootings, whatever. No mass shooting has ever used a ghost gun that I know. Maybe I don't know about it, because I'm sure there's some that have happened that they weren't newsworthy, so they didn't report on them. But none of these big mass shootings that they're always using in their rhetoric have ever used a ghost gun. And I'm saying ghost gun with air quotes.
Statistically, you're much more likely to get killed by a ghost bat.
Yeah. Yes.
Or a ghost knife. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Or a ghost in general. No, that's not true.
Well, that could be a thing. That could be a thing. Yeah. No, I absolutely agree, man. It's a diversion, and then people that are educated about guns and passionate about it, and it's their vocation. They'll argue these little nuanced points. The anti-gun crowd doesn't give a damn either way. The fact that we're over here look and that we don't notice the 15 other anti-gun legislation pieces that are brought out. There is a war on our individual rights and liberty at every level of government every day of the week, and it's not just guns. It's anything that allows a citizen to be self-sufficient. So,
If
like
I was,
try and drill a well on your property or harvest your own food, or there's going to be somebody that's trying to stifle that that's in a government position.
if I was a tyrant and I wanted to take total control, and I see that this government formed by this document called the Constitution has these things called the Bill of Rights that gives every almost said student, we're talking about schools, every citizen of that country these inalienable rights. I'm going to go after the most important one that technically protects all the other rights. And that's the thing. We hear people say the comment, if somebody's trying to disarm you, they're about to do something that you would shoot them, which is true, but I think the big part of it is they want to get rid of all the rights. If you think that conservative voices getting squashed on social media is their end goal, you need to think again, right. And who I'm talking to at that point is the more leftist leaning voices, because I think they should have a voice too. I may not agree with them, but they absolutely 100% in this country, what this country is about, everybody has their own ideas, everybody has their own voice, and everybody can think what they want to think.
For sure.
And they are the ones that are being susceptible to the belief that we're going to make people who don't think like you not be allowed to think and talk anymore. But that's not the end goal. If you're trying to take away any rights when it comes to free speech, it's going to eventually be everyone's right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to jump on the backs of the people who were crazy enough to attack other people about it until the other people that they're against are gone. And then they're like, oh, thanks for your help. You shut up too. Yeah. And if people don't realize that, we're screwed in general.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I think people need to be a little more clear on too is, that document doesn't give us anything. Our rights and liberties are natural born, self-evident, God-given, whatever, it comes from a higher place. And the document just tells the government that they can't fuck with those. I mean, that's really what the document says. But too many kids, over that have gone, these kids now are voting. They believe that the government gives us our rights. Mm-hmm. And that's bad, because if they believe they gave it to us, then they can conceal or concede that they can take it away.
Yeah, they're all brainwashed by social media and the government and the politicians and media in general, the mainstream media. I mean, they're just, I don't know how many people I talk to, even relatives, they'll watch CNN and think that's the truth. And as we know nowadays, the media isn't like what it used to be, where they had to have 3 sources before they ran with a story. Now they just run with it. And then they try to, after the fact, say, okay, well, sue us. And then if they get sued, then they'll decide whether they're going to recant or change or upgrade the story, or they'll just say, well, whatever, you sue it. If you win in court, then we'll pay out, and then we'll still not correct the story.
That's interesting. 3 sources. You're right. That was common practice, journalistic integrity.
Yeah. And now there's no journalistic integrity, because we're all with cameras. All the general people are with cameras, and we are the news now, because it's breaking. Everybody's got a camera. Everybody's got a camera on them. They can just start recording, and the news are way behind. That's the only way they can do it, is get rid of that typical, journalistic way of 3 stories to be able, 3 sources to be able to print a story. They can't do that anymore to keep up with the way society and technology is.
And the 2 biggest things that I've always utilized to kind of convey that, well, not the 2 biggest things on gun rights. One big thing to help convey that concept of, this is who you are, this is your right as a human being, that is, I guess I should have said, protected by the Constitution. Not given to you by the Constitution, protected by the Constitution. In self-defense, it's the right to bear arms. It is, and this isn't what the Second Amendment is about. So anybody that's listening, I'm not saying this is what the Second Amendment is about. I'm saying this is what your right as a human being, this is what you are ingrained and hardwired to do. If someone comes at you with a rock, you would like to have a rock. If someone comes at you with a stick, you would like to have a stick. And of course, all of us, all gun people are going, I'll just have a gun. Listen to the whole thing.
That's
If
what I thought
someone
at
comes
first.
at you, right. If someone comes at you with a steel pipe, you would, by nature, want a steel pipe. If someone comes at you with a gun, you'd like to have a gun. Anything, it's a matter of having equal power. Now, the Second Amendment, and this goes to the second thing that always helps me convert people, and you can only do it one-on-one because you can't fight mob mentality. You get two or more people that are anti-gun, just walk away. You're not going to be able to argue that anything. Just keep your peace. Don't raise your blood pressure. Get away. But Trump was the best thing to me for explaining the Second Amendment. And the reason I say that is I'm not saying Trump is a tyrant. So everybody suspend that thought. When somebody would say, I'm pro-gun, but I don't think anyone needs an AR or an AK, I would look at them and I'd say, okay, I'm going to assume by that statement that you're not a fan of Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's a Nazi. He's the second coming of Hitler. He is a tyrant. He's a and so I go, okay, I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on Donald Trump. I'm going to suspend disbelief and I'm going to say I agree with you for the moment. Do you really want the second coming of Hitler taking everybody's gun? And you see this look on their face like, oh, what? What? And I'm like, that's what the Second Amendment is about. If you are right and Donald Trump is a tyrant, like you say, which you're probably not, 99.9% sure you're not, but if you are, and he is a tyrant, then we need every gun possible to fight him.
Yeah,
and you see this light bulb go on. Because usually we argue, well, screw Joe Biden or screw Obama or screw Clinton. All you're doing is pissing them off. And when you piss somebody off, they're not listening fully.
Right.
But if you take yourself out of the picture and you put yourself in their mindset and then explain the Second Amendment from their mindset, their point of view, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I never thought about it like, yes, because it has nothing to do with me being carjacked or mugged. It has nothing to do with someone breaking in my house. It has nothing to do with me going hunting or shooting skeet out on a range. It has everything to do with if we ever get a tyrant in office that tries to take over this country with tyranny and ruin everybody's life and right, that's why we need every gun we can possibly have. If I can afford an F-16 and I know how to fly it, I deserve to get I hate the word deserve. I should be able to get an F-16, you know, and people don't argue that way, one, and don't think that way too. You know, they'll be like, oh, Donald Trump is the devil. Okay, you want Donald Trump's government taking our guns? What do you mean? And
that's a great,
that is a great
argument. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's to be able to argue the point. I'm going to use that because that's great. That's a great way to just hit him, hit him back with it. I'll say Zeke said.
Just don't give my address. I mean, I know you follow me around and stuff.
Yeah, I know. I actually wore this shirt for you, Zeke. Look at this.
Oh,
Gun Street. One of these things is not like the other. Wait. We lost. Where'd your picture go?
Can't see it.
Oh, you got to talk so you're up there.
Okay,
not like the others.
Yeah, you like that, huh?
Oh, a hair clip,
magazine, stripper clip,
clip, and a paper clip.
So the only one that's a magazine is that one.
Is the magazine?
The rest are all clips.
Okay, let me ask you guys this: in the gun community, you're trying to be a gun professional. Totally get correcting people like that, and I've done it. But just some layman who's getting into guns and they say clip all the time, do y'all correct them?
Well, ultimately, we want to let them leave with the right information, but I'm not going to jump down someone's throat. Yeah. That's what they know it as, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen plenty of instructors say, oh, and they make them feel like a dick. Like, no, we don't need to do that, man.
So,
hey, that metal box with the springy thing in there, that's called a magazine. That's a follower. The springy thing's a follower. You know, like I like introducing concepts by using the simplified terminology, but then giving them the proper terminology after that, and then using it consistently afterwards.
I agree with that. Go ahead.
Oh, I think that is a huge issue in our industry. Is we went from a very brotherhood kind of vibe And it's happened within me working in the industry. 2012 was still that I scratch your back, you scratch mine. We're all in this together. Let's join arms, do it. And I don't know if it's the influencer thing. I don't know if it's the entertainment aspect, everybody clamoring to the top to be the most well-known, well-read, well-versed person in guns. But we will tear people apart in our industry. And a lot of those people are new people into guns that may not have been a pro-gun person before, and they get into it. And then they walk into a gun shop and they're like, oh, that's a crazy looking banana clip on that AK. That's it's not a clip, it's a magazine. And they just tear him a new asshole for it.
Yeah.
And that person will never touch a gun again.
No, we want to welcome folks in, man.
Right, exactly.
Now on the flip side of that too, if I'm doing an instructor class and they consistently call it a clip or whatever they're calling the cartridge a bullet, then I'm gonna correct them, but I correct them politely. Like when they say it, I'll be like, "What'd you mean?" And they'll be like, "Oh, I mean this," to just try to re-engage that in their neural pathways so that they're saying the right thing. Because if not, they're perpetuating it. But
as industry professionals, professionals should have the capacity to deliver the proper terminology. But
for sure,
I wrote an article a while ago, and one of the chapters in the article was called "The Condescension of Proper Nomenclature." And a lot of times instructors will take these brand new people that came in, all they know about guns is what they saw on the TV.
Right.
And, we browbeat them with all this terminology. It's like, go to a doctor and say, hey, and they say it's a spinatomus hematelia, whatever. It's like, dude, let's start with fucking rash. How about that? Let's start with rash and then we'll break off from there.
Oh, that's funny.
And I think instructors need to be able to read that. We're going to get more logical people sometimes that will require the proper terminology. Other folks, let's warm them up to it. But I think ultimately, as an educator, we should let people leave with, this is what this piece is called, this is what that piece is called. But don't jump down their throat because they call it a clip or I agree with that.
And I think educators are good at it, because we have to learn different people. You can't. I think one of the kings of doing this. And his videos, you never would have guessed it by this until you actually trained with him, was James Yeager. You watch his videos, you think, oh man, this is going to be like basic training the entire time when you go to train with him. And it's not. He had it down to a science. He knew what each personality type, how they needed. He knew with me to come stand in my ear and yell and cuss at me, and that would motivate me. And he did. And he also knew with another guy that was in the class, that he could go, hey man, chill out, come here, let me show you this. And he did it with kindness and compassion. And that's what we need to do in this industry as a whole. I think educators get it because we have to be able to adapt to different personality types. I think the industry as a whole doesn't. I think that's the reason why the NRA has been known, well, not lately. They've tried to change a little bit, but they've been known as the old white guy club. Because it's like, oh, you don't look like us, you don't act like us, we don't want you. Not saying that the NRA had some edict, but the group as a whole would start to behave like that.
Right.
If you said something wrong about magazine clips, if you called a semi-automatic a fully automatic, people would jump down your throat. Well, here's the thing that us as an industry, us as a Second Amendment community, let's forget the industry word, let's say it's a Second Amendment community. We really need to be cognizant of the fact that people getting into our space that are like, you know what? I had a dad who taught me about guns, never really got into them. Now I'm all super pro Second Amendment. I'd like to join in and learn. What we always forget is these tools, and this is water guns.
I was going to say, squirt
guns, guns in general, are tools that are designed to kill. They are designed to create a death. That is not a positive thing.
Right.
Is it something that's bad? No, because it could be used for good. It could be used to defend you, yourself, your family. I tell people all the time, the reason I carry a gun is an act of love. I carry a gun because I know if stuff goes down, I can protect friends, family, and even people I don't even know who the hell they are around me. If stuff happens, we need to address it from an act of love perspective, because these people that are new, they're coming in, they're like, oh my God, this thing can kill someone or something. They're apprehensive as it is. If someone's apprehensive and you jump down their throat because they said the word clip, get the fuck out of here, man. You just alienated a potential proponent of the Second Amendment because you were more worried about being right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and back to what y'all said earlier and what I agree with. Yes, once you get in and you start to, I want to be a professional in this industry. Yeah, you need to get that shit right. You need to be able to distinguish a magazine from a clip, semi-automatic from fully automatic. Not tell a woman the only thing she can ever carry is a 38 special pink revolver, you know.
Right.
But there's so many people that I talk to. They're like, I tried to get into it, and the guy at the gun shop was kind of an asshole to me because I wanted to check out a 1911, and he was like, "Oh no, dude, you need a striker fire pistol with this capacity." And I thought it was a cool looking gun, and then he just kind of shot me down like I was an idiot, so I never touched the gun again. People that do that, they don't realize that's what they're doing to people that want to be a proponent for the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with coming from the space of love. I like that. I like that because that's really the intent. We have these firearms to protect our family and protect my son's daddy. But I'll even go one further with you. Guns are designed to put holes at things at a distance. That's it. They're designed to put holes at things now, if you put holes in the wrong thing, it could cause negative things, positive things, like, whatever, right? But ultimately, everyone has the same capacity to kill when they get behind the wheel of a car. Right. So every time, or pick up a sharp blade or something. So I think, when they pick up a chainsaw to cut wood or something, that tool gives you the ability to do lots of good things, lots of bad things, depending on how you particularly implement it. Yeah.
Super.
How we got on that from gunsmithing school.
Who knows? But tell us about Dilligolf.
Yeah, what's the thing on your hat?
Dilligolf. All right, so my son, I've played golf since I was 12 years old.
Wow.
I am not good. I am pathetically
Someone
horrible.
once told me golf is a waste of a perfectly good rifle range. You don't believe that?
Well, that is true. No, I do. I'm out there and I'm hitting golf balls and enjoying myself and loving it, but I'm going, dang, I can hit about a 500-yard shot. Anyway. But yeah, so I started playing when I was 12, and I enjoyed it, but I was never good. So my grandfather and uncle scratch golfers, so I went out. I couldn't compete with them. Then in high school, I was playing with guys on the high school teams. It wasn't good, so I couldn't compete with them. And then I get to be adulthood, and I'd go out with friends that were great golfers and play golf twice a week. And I'd just be like, okay, just give me a beer. Y'all keep playing. I'm going to hang out with the hangout part. And so I never really got hooked because I'm super competitive. It's the reason I quit doing shooting competitions, because I got fairly decent at it, and I quit because each one of those damn things was $200 in ammo. So this is an expensive sport too. So my son makes his high school golf team, and at 13 years old, he's only in 8th grade, and he made his high school team. So I was super proud of him. I'm like, let's go play golf. I'll take you golfing. This was last year, and I was like, he's gonna smoke me because he's really good at golf. And I'm just not going to try to compete. I'm just going to see if I can get a little bit better myself, see if I can do better than I've ever done. And I really focused. I went to the driving range. I did a bunch of stuff to get ready. And I broke 90 for the first time, which, in golf, that's kind of hard to do. 98% of golfers never break 80. But I broke 90, and I was pretty stoked about that. And it kind of hooked. That self-improvement aspect of it. And so I was like, well, I'm going to take you more often. So we went a couple more times. I was still loving it and enjoying it. And then I was like, well, hell, I'll do what I did in the gun industry and start a YouTube channel, podcast, all this stuff, file the LLC tax benefits, right? Everything we do for this, I can write off. So started a YouTube channel, filed the LLC, trademarked the name, and the name is Dilligolf. Most people in our industry know what Dilligaff means. Do I look like a give-a-fuck? Dilligolf is, do I look like I golf? Because I don't look like I golf. And I was like, this can be kind of fun. Well, fast forward 6-7 weeks later, because this all started like 6 weeks ago. I have I'm about to cross over 4,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Nice.
I've got like 1,200 on TikTok. I think Instagram's a dead medium. I think it's just completely dead. If you want to try to grow something on Instagram now, if you're in our industry, forget about it.
No.
If you're in any other industry, forget about it because they want you to pay to get the exposure. You can't just organically get exposure on Instagram. So all those different followers I have, Instagram, I've only got 30 for this Dilligolf. Anyway, that being said, it's kind of taken a mind of its own. It's kind of become this Frankenstein that I built because I'm using the same formula I used with Talking Lead when I started that podcast with Marty and did the YouTube channel. I'm approaching it from, hey, I'm a dumbass. I suck at golf. Watch me learn,
Nice.
And then I started watching all these reviews on YouTube, and not all of them. Let me preface it with that. Not all of them are like this, but a lot of the reviews on clubs that, fix your slice. The most common miss when you're driving off the tee box is a slice. It goes real far right. The reviews are being done by PGA pros. Why the hell am I going to listen to a PGA pro who's never sliced in the last 30 years of his golf career tell me that this golf club is going to help fix your slice? So I started making these shitty golfer reviews. I'm a crappy golfer. Let me review this club and see if it helps me. And maybe if it helped me, it'll help you.
That's
and
cool.
people love it. And it
That's
just
awesome.
has taken off. I've done a few little short skits with golf stuff and my wife, and it's been fun. It's just kind of a little side passion project. I'm still in the gun industry, full bore. If anybody's like, oh, he's leaving the gun industry for golf because it's easier. No, it's not that. I enjoy both. That's the one weird thing about our industry from the people outside and even some of the people in the industry. They think if you're a gun guy, that's all you are. You're only a gun guy. And then you say something like, oh, I'm playing in this basketball game at your basketball. What? This is SHOT Show. I'm like, yeah, but it's a bunch of 2A professionals and we're doing this celebrity golf game.
Yeah.
But this is a SHOT Show.
Did you didn't go to that last year, Klint? You got to go to that this year. You got to watch Zeke play basketball. It's gonna be
very sad. You'll feel sorry for
gonna
him.
be an
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
tower
pretty
over
bad
everybody.
myself.
So
What's that?
Are you bad at it or good at it?
no, he's good. He's
Basketball, I will say I was good. I am about 60 pounds heavier and 48 years old. So I'm not where I used to be. But yeah, I can handle my own if I'm in shape.
You're 48. I thought you were 38.
No, I'm 48.
Yeah, here's the clean living, huh?
Yeah, for
2
sure.
years till 50. Yeah.
So
Oh.
look, what do you think that is?
Is it a can cover?
It's a golf ball launcher you put on the end of an AR.
Yes. I've got to do a video with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you can combine both of your fields, right?
Exactly.
So you
know
can
where I
get a
get some
whole
one
golf
launch.
thing, talking about the golf and gun connection, one thing I've realized, the majority of golfers are super conservative and pro-gun. And it might be because the majority of golfers are businessmen, capitalists. They tend to lean right wing. That might be it. I don't know. At least around here they have been. But the thing that made me excited about the golf thing was how fast it grew. And then I got super pissed off because I'm like, 3,000 subscribers took me and Marty like 2 years with talking about it.
Yeah.
And I got it in 6 weeks. And, I've said this to people and they're like, well, be happy, be excited. I'm like,
You're happy for that.
I'm for that.
Yeah.
But it's
Pissed off on
just
the gun
more
side.
proof. Yeah, it's just more
Suppression.
proof that
Yep.
the media and social media suppress gun content
Oh, absolutely.
unless it supports their agenda. Like
Right.
I followed this I followed it originally because their first couple of videos, they were like, here's some tactical disadvantages of this shooting that happened. And now they just show all these shootings all over the world that happen. And they show that and it gets hundreds of thousands of views, but they're not showing it from a pro-gun perspective or from an instructor perspective that says, hey, this is how you should handle this situation. It's just the shooting. And it gets hundreds of thousands of views and it's not suppressed. But if I took that same video and said, hey, look, this is how you should have handled yourself in that situation. This is how this guy could have found cover instead of concealment. This is If I said all that, then they'd squash it and suppress it.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's like, here, let's put out the narrative that guns make people crazy, wild mob shooters.
Yep.
I think my least favorite argument of anything is when people are like, well, you got a gun, you're 87% more likely, and I don't know what the real number is, to die of suicide by gun. I hate that.
Yeah. Well, New York State's making us do that now as gun stores. They just literally signed a law a couple days ago where FFLs like me, I'm a Type 7 Class 2. We have to have it posted in our store that guns are inherently dangerous and are one of the leading causes of suicide. That's New York law.
Watch this. Ready? You're a stupid knife. You suck. I'm physically assaulting the knife. I'm calling it out that it can't cut shit. It could never kill anything. And guess what? It's not jumping up and stabbing me for it. It's an inanimate object.
Yeah, inanimate. I always say they're an inanimate object without a soul, like a lot of our politicians.
That's a good place to end. That's a good place to end the conversation right there.
For sure.
I think you should wrap every podcast with that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
Well, Zeke, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you. I'm looking forward to hanging out and seeing you play basketball at SHOT Show. Anyway, how can people learn more about you, MGS, and Dilligolf?
Yeah, so most social media, actually probably all of them, is just Zeke_Stout, ZEKE_STOUT. And then MGS is MGS Trade School on pretty much everything. The website is mgs.edu. You can go there, request more info if you're wanting to learn to become a gunsmith. We have outstanding curriculum. We have plenty of student reviews that are 100% positive. I have seen, since I've been there, since I started in January 2020, I've seen one negative review.
Wow.
And we pushed through a few hundred students. We've got a really, really good curriculum that I stand behind. So if you want more information, if you want to find a trade, if you're trying to break into the gun industry, MGS is a great place to do it, to get that knowledge base. So mgs.edu for that. And then Dilligolf is just DILLIGOLF. Do I look like I golf? Dilligolf. On YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everything. Yeah, just Dilligolf.
Very cool.
Fantastic. It was a pleasure to have you on the show again, sir. It's good talking to you.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
We'll have to sit together in lodge one time.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Most definitely.
All right. Well, take care. Yeah. Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
There's lots of sponsors that make this show possible, like Mantis.
Check them out and give them your business.
Meet the Pressers is brought to you by Mantis X. Mantis X helps shooters suck less. Next Level Training. Makers of CERT training products. Saber Red. Saber Red has been making men and women cry since 1975. Meet the Pressers is also brought to you by these fine companies, shows, and organizations. Thank you.
Watching Meet the Pressers.